Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
This is a podcast, and it's called the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Welcome in. The finger dab is happening in the corner over here. It is August 1st. It is draft month.
Oh my gosh, it's August.
I'm so happy it's August. I feel like July has lasted. I said this on the last podcast, but July has lasted my entire life.
You know why?
Why?
No sports.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm sorry. We have summer baseball. 5-hour games.
I did enjoy... I won't say it. Well, they know we're Patriots fans. I did enjoy that Yankees-Red Sox series over the weekend, though. That was fun. The NFL preseason starts not tomorrow, not next week,
Soon.
not a month from now. Like tonight.
Does it actually?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, flip.
Hall
Let's
of Fame
get lit.
game is tonight. Let's go.
Does anybody watch the Hall of Fame game, though?
No. And I'll be watching every second because I've been waiting way too long.
Of course you will be.
I might just like...
That's how you know you're an obsessed NFL fan, is when you watch the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah. Getting some value out of that. Today, we are going to bring you our third mock draft in honor of preseason game being today.
Oh, I love mock drafts.
We're going to mock draft. And it being the first day of August, which is mock draft month, or not mock draft month, draft month. I think July is mock draft month at this point. We're going to mock draft for you guys. You ready to start off with our question for the show?
I'm lit, dude. Let's go.
Actually, you know what? I completely dissed the pleasantries before.
Oh, screw pleasantries. We're doing a mock
let's
draft.
Just move right into this. Make sure you go over and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the FF Champs on Twitter and at the Fantasy Champions on Instagram. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fantasy Champions. Subscribe wherever you listen. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a review right now. And share this podcast with your friends. Let's get started with the icebreaker cue of the day. Is Sam Darnold, my friends, about to break out in 2019? Because, and the reason why I asked this is because I was looking at his numbers and I was looking at some of the things that he did last year.
Okay.
And I was like impressed a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
Not because of most of the season, but because of what happened in the last couple of games. But give me your opinion before I drop the facts.
I love Sam
you.
Darnold. I think he will be the best quarterback taken in that class, and I know Baker Mayfield was in that class.
Player Profiler has Sam Darnold's picture as a Lego character.
What?
I'm not even lying.
Is that a joke?
Look at this right now.
I don't understand the internet.
That's not even worse. Jared Goff is like some guy from Star Wars.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah, let's.
But Sam Darnold.
Like,
I love Sam Darnold. I think he. I don't know.
Let's spend the first 5 minutes of the show talking about Sam Darnold's
Lego character. Yeah. Him and me. I know. I just said I think he'll be better than Mayfield. I think they'll be very close. Like, it'll clearly be them two as the best quarterbacks from a great quarterback class.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be this year where he breaks out, though. Just because he's still very young. The Jets team is still not very good.
Bruh, don't discount Sammy.
So, I'm sorry, Robbie Anderson is your number one receiver, and the guy they just signed, Jamison Crowder, as you said earlier, you told me, did he tear his ACL?
Who?
Jamison Crowder?
I don't know if he tore his ACL. Good God.
He got hurt, though, didn't he?
I believe so.
So, Jamison Crowder's injured. Even if
Quincy Enunwa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yo, dude, my bad. I totally forgot. Sam Darnold.
Show some respect.
Best quarterback in the league now.
Show some respect.
I love Darnold. I don't know if it's going to be this year where he breaks out.
I'm going to say maybe.
Wow, that's a really definitive take.
Yeah, dude. I can make it as soft. I can make it as soft a take as you want. So from the 2 weeks, the championship weeks, if you want to put those together. I'll say let's just do week 14 to 17 for fun, for kicks and giggles. What the crap, Fantasy Pros? There we go. 14 to 17. Sam Darnold was the QB 12 from 14 to 17. And in weeks 15 and 16, very small sample size, he was the number 3 quarterback in fantasy football. He showed flashes last year of being a really good quarterback. And over the last 2 games, just to give you the Green Bay game where he went off was relatively decent, but he did have 21 fantasy points against Houston.
Okay.
So he was relatively decent in that game. He showed flashes last year of being really good, and in his second year, there are a lot of people who are not fantasy football experts because Sam Darnold's not even getting drafted. But there's a lot of people in the ESPN and NFL Network world that believe that Sam Darnold will take a very, very large quantitative leap this year. There are people surrounding the Jets organization that say that Sam Darnold has made large strides from last year in his decision-making and all of that. So I think, to me, there's a chance that he could break out next year. I don't know if he will. The talent is the one thing that really gives me a hard time in believing that he will be a breakout guy. I think they needed to get a big-time wide receiver. Maybe not a big-time wide receiver, but they need to invest a little bit. Robbie Anderson's not enough for me. He's a solid number 2 wide receiver.
I think he's a 3, to be completely honest with you, in a perfect world.
Wow. Fading Robbie that hard.
I'm just saying. I think Darnold will break out next year. I don't think it's going to be this year. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened this year because, as I told you, I love Sam Darnold, and I think he's
extremely talented.
Yeah, I think he's better than Josh Allen. I think he's better than Lamar Jackson. Like all those guys that had pretty solid rookie seasons last year. I think he's. I mean, it's considered a hot take, but I honestly think he's just as good as Baker Mayfield. Maybe even with a higher upside. Yeah. So I do love Darnold. I just don't know if it's going to be this year.
Right. I don't disagree with you, but I do think there's a chance that he could break out this year. There are a lot of people asking that question, though, of like, is Sam Darnold a draftable option? Is he a good enough option for your fantasy team in 2019? I don't think so. I think he's a guy that you look at, 5 weeks into the season and go, oh, this guy's actually good. Let me grab him and throw him on my fantasy team for, a couple weeks and see how he does.
Right. Maybe wait more.
But I think that you saw Sam Darnold produce late in the season last year in a QB1 fashion. It wasn't like he was a terrible quarterback or that he, blew chunks at the end of the season. He wasn't as good as Josh Allen, or Baker Mayfield were towards the end of last year. But he was good enough, at least over the course of 3 games or so, to be a top 6, top 7 quarterback. So I think he can do that over the course of a full season. That's the question of whether or not he can, and I don't know if that's going to be next year or the following year. But at some point, Sam Darnold will be a big-time quarterback. I dodged that question entirely.
Yes, you did.
Well, let's move into our mock draft part of the show. We're going to try to get 15 rounds in.
Quick.
30 minutes, maybe, or less. Hopefully less, but we'll see what happens. Just to give you some of the information for this draft, I am the first pick.
Yeah.
This wasn't a draw. This was a selected. I said, which pick you want? And Rick said 12, and I was like, oh, okay. 12-team league, 15 rounds. Let's get started. It's going to be extremely difficult. The turn pick is one of the hardest picks to draft for.
It's going to be tough.
Whether it's
going to be really hard.
Whether it's 1 or 12. When you have the turn pick, it's just like...
Yeah. A 10-team team,
difficult.
I think, would be easier right now, just looking at the board for me, but...
We'll probably end up only doing 14 rounds, considering that...
What, you don't want to draft kickers and defense, dude?
No. 13 rounds, I'm sorry. No, I don't want to draft kickers and defenses. So, you want to get this thing started?
Let's go.
Get this thing cracking. So, I'm on the clock. And
You're the first overall pick. What are you going to do, bud?
You never know.
I know. I think most people know. You want to draft Zeke, though. I can see it in your face. Your face screams like you want a chicken sandwich right now.
I have a question. Why is there a suspended symbol next to Zeke's name right now on Sleeper?
There's one with Michael Thomas and Melvin Gordon. I think that's just
It
Not
means
showing
that
up
they're not showing up to training camp.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it would be this in okay. I'm already confusing myself. In standard leagues, in half PPR leagues, and in full PPR leagues, I have Saquon Barkley listed as the number 1 running back in fantasy football. I have him ranked number 1 on my top 10 list, ranked number 1 on my top 50 list, ranked number 1 on my top 100 list, ranked number 1 on my top 200 list. Saquon Barkley is the number 1 pick of the draft.
I thought you were going to say,
It's
but
obvious.
I'm going to take Zeke.
But I'm going to
David Johnson went number 3, guys, in this draft. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, it's easier to follow along.
Yeah.
If you're not, it's kind of tough. So we're going to try to say it. Like Todd Gurley went in the first round.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Yep.
So this left a perfect...
So do you want me to list off the guys?
Sure, go ahead. Really quick.
Zeke, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Le'Veon Bell, DeAndre Hopkins, James Conner, Michael Thomas, and Todd Gurley all fell with the next 10 picks, and I took Saquon because I'm a beast.
So, sitting here at 12, this is where I don't mind the turn pick. This year, 12 team, I'm getting number 1 wide receiver, Julio Jones. I'm getting another number 1 running back, Joe Mixon.
Not bad.
That was the guy I was targeting, Mixon and Julio Jones, both guys that I wanted, and both guys ended up falling to me. To me, now I have a solid RB1 and a solid WR1.
So I totally did not expect this, but Nick Chubb just fell.
He did.
Very far.
You know who else just fell? Patrick Mahomes is on the board for you.
All set. I do like your picks. I think Julio Jones, he's one of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL. He's probably, outside of Odell Beckham, he's probably the most talented wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, you can make that argument, yeah.
He just doesn't catch touchdowns for the life of him.
So would you rather have...
I would rather have Adams and Hopkins.
Well, they weren't on the board.
Right, exactly.
I was actually tempted
I would not take
Odell.
Tyreek Hill, and I would not take Michael Thomas or Odell.
I was thinking Odell, but...
If I was going to take the 4th wide receiver off the board and Julio was there, yeah, I would take Julio Jones.
Right.
My top 5 wide receivers at this point are, depending on, I'll just say half PPR because that's the way we're drafting. I have Adams, Hopkins, Julio, Juju. Then I think it's Odell, and then Reek Hill and Michael Thomas.
Dang. Thomas is 7? Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a huge fan of Michael Thomas.
So after I took Mixon and Julio, Tyreek Hill went off the board, which we haven't seen his name in a while, have we?
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
Finally adjusted.
Melvin Gordon goes in the second round, middle of the second round.
Yeah, what is that pick, 17?
I believe so. Juju, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Keenan Allen, and now you are on the board.
Flip. So I have an assortment of options here. Nick Chubb. I'm not taking Mahomes. Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, Adam Thielen. So at the turn pick, you kind of are put into a very difficult situation in terms of, how you draft. Because if you're at the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th pick or 8th pick, you can kind of draft, focusing on ADP and trying to predict where guys are going to go. With the turn pick at 1 or 10, you pick so far away from where you're supposed to pick or from where you would like to pick.
Yeah.
What is it, 19 picks later that we both have to pick? Now they said the word pick 40 times. But wherever you have to pick, it kind of turns into a scenario where you can't really look at, when I draft, if say I'm the 4th pick, right? I go, okay, my next selection is, I picked 104 or I picked 105, right? My next pick is 208. So when it flips, I can go, okay, there's 10 teams or 10 picks ahead of me. What 10 guys might go based on what teams have already done? So then I sit there and I figure out what I'm going to do. At the turn pick, you literally cannot predict 19 picks. It's not going to happen. So you kind of have to sit down and be
be very flexible.
You have to be very flexible. If there's a guy you like that's ranked higher, literally what I would suggest if you have 1 or 10 or 12, if you're a 10-team league and you have 1 or 10, or you're a 12-team league and you have 12, I would just suggest taking the BPA, best player available, every time. Don't even worry about strategy. Don't worry about what you end up with. Take the best player available. That's probably the strategy.
So take Patrick Mahomes this round.
Stop. On your draft board, not on sleepers draft board, or based on the ADP. I think you can't with the turn pick. You can follow ADP a little bit, but there's not a great like I can say okay, I'm 412, so there are certain guys at that point like maybe AJ Green, Amari Cooper, or Kerryon Johnson would fall there, but highly like Josh Jacobs maybe I don't know that probably wouldn't work out that way. But as far as the pick, I'm probably gonna take Nick Chubb because Dalvin Cook came off the board at 203, right?
Who was it?
Dalvin Cook.
Yes,
yeah,
he did.
So I'm gonna take Nick Chubb here. Didn't expect him to fall to me.
No,
I think that's a really solid pick. Gets you a second running back because I have the turn. I'm on the board again. Now this is a question of whether do I go running back again?
What did you just say? Best player available.
Best player available. Do I go running back again? And take stop. Do I go running back again and take Aaron Jones or Leonard Fournette, knowing that my best options at wide receiver are Hilton and Thielen, and take the risk of going okay when I get to round when I get to 412 or 5-1, then I have to take a wide receiver there, but I can take some of the guys that are a little bit of mid-round depth in terms of wide receiver, or do I take T.Y. Hilton and Adam Thielen here? I'm going to take Fournette.
Okay.
I'm going to take my risk, and I'm going to go 3 running backs.
I actually like that. For the spot that you were in,
yeah,
I like that.
The next guys, Mahomes, Hilton, Mack, Thielen,
oh, come on.
Jones, Green, Cooper, Freeman, Derrick Henry, and Kerryon Johnson. What's going on?
Kerryon Johnson was my guy.
There you go.
That's okay. So here, it is tough.
That's a tough pick.
I know who I'm going to go after, though.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs. At this point, I think he was just the best running back available.
Yeah.
And I think Stephon Diggs is the best wide receiver available. Again, I'm kind of just picking for value at that point, but to me, now I have a solid core, 2 solid receivers, 2 solid running backs.
Yeah. Dang it.
You wanted...
I thought Galladay was going to fall.
Yeah. Hey, it's your boy. Calvin Ridley's pretty high. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean... I do like the Josh Jacobs pick. I am kind of struggling with the fact that Josh Jacobs is in a 12-team league, late 3rd, early 4th. That hurts a little bit.
That's why it hurt because I wanted Kerryon Johnson, but
because what is that?
A few running backs just went off the board there, and I wasn't gonna go Mark Ingram.
What is that? Pick 36?
Something. Yeah, something like that.
So Josh Jacobs, not a bad spot for your running back too. I mean, if the guy busts, then it is what it is. But I think he's a solid RB2. And then Stephon Diggs, he's a guy that can be a wide receiver 1. I think actually the way that your team looks right now is a little more balanced than mine is right now.
Well, that's kind of obvious because you don't have a wide receiver on your roster.
But George Kittle goes 402. And then Mark Ingram, David Montgomery, Zach
Your
Ertz,
running backs are insane.
Chris
though.
Carson.
If you like, for me, if I was picking in your spot, I would have done the exact same things you've done.
Yeah, it's tough because the wide receivers are like I probably have to go 5 rounds.
You can always trade for a receiver.
Brandon Cooks goes at 407. Julian Edelman, Andrew Luck as a second quarterback off the board. Kenny Golladay, and then Phillip Lindsay. So I wanted Kenny Golladay. But there's other options on the board. So I think that I'm going to have to take Robert Woods.
Yep. I would do that too.
And then I'm going to take I'll probably take Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
I think Calvin Ridley has the chance to be a wide receiver 1 this year, and Robert Woods is a consistent running back 2. Maybe I should have just... It doesn't really matter what order I took him in, but I think Calvin Ridley would be my wide receiver 1, and Robert Woods would be my wide receiver 2. It's not great. It's something that I'd have to improve during the season, but it does, in turn make my team a little bit better at wide receiver.
Right.
It's a tough spot.
No, it is.
Especially when you get 3 guys at running back.
Your running backs are still insanely stacked, though. So it doesn't... Like, even if you hit on one of Calvin Ridley or Robert Woods, you'll be okay.
Right.
Because you'll have enough firepower to acquire another receiver.
Right.
Here it's kind of tough. I was hoping Cooper Kupp would follow me. I knew he probably wouldn't. So I'm very tempted... I'm very tempted to do this. I'm very tempted to take 2 wide receivers here.
Okay.
But I'll get the guy I want more, which is Tyler Boyd. Then this next pick is very interesting because
Right.
I could kind of use a running back, but there's really not any running backs available. And do I really want to stretch out for, like Rashad Penny or Darius Geis? Rashad. Maybe take Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
Do I take Deshaun Watson, the quarterback? It goes against every strategy, but
Yeah.
he is kind of falling to me. At what point is the 6th round too early for Deshaun Watson?
Considering that his ADP is 56, no. But I think he's a good value in the 6th round here.
That's what I'm thinking
He's fallen
too.
10 full picks. So
I don't think I can
how
let him keep
long do
slipping.
you wait?
I'm taking Deshaun Watson here. I usually don't take quarterbacks, but again, I'm a little more open to it than than you are, I think, overall. Because if a quarterback is going to slide, I will take him.
Right.
My running backs are still in a little tough spot, which I don't like.
Yep.
But I've gotten pretty much all guys I like. And I think Deshaun Watson honestly has the potential to be the best quarterback in fantasy this year. So I'll take that in the 6th round.
Next off the board, Dante Pettis, Evan Ingram, Baker Mayfield, Tariq Cohen, DJ Moore, Rashad Penny, Jarvis Landry, Elshon Jeffrey, Hunter Henry, and then Lamar Miller. So I'm in a spot here where I do have 3 running backs. Mm-hmm. I'm at 6-12. And there is the 6th round I've noticed is like the abyss round. Especially if DJ Moore, Tyler Boyd, and Christian Kirk. I mean, not Christian Kirk. Dante Pettis all come off the board on me.
Right.
It kind of becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, the board does not look good for you.
Right. So what do I do here?
Dude, Eric Ebron, your guy. Allen Robinson, your other guy. All your favorite players are best available right now.
I'd be toast.
I know what I'd do. Even though I probably wouldn't love it too much, but
yeah,
you're in a tough spot, so.
I'm going to take Robbie Anderson.
Okay.
I'm taking Robbie Anderson only because I think he's obviously maybe one of the only targets in Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I know I was
Darnold's
just on him
system.
earlier, but he is the number one receiver on that team.
I think that he could be targeted like 120 times, and if he is, he's a decent prospect to take a look at least. I think that he has done a lot of good things with the Jets, and he's waited for his opportunity. So he's a guy that I could definitely sit on my bench, and if he has one good week, try to sell him.
Right.
The next guy, a lot of people would say go Darius Geis because he fell all the way to this point. For me, I'm not a huge fan of Darius Geis, and I think a lot of people do like him. The concern is that he's in a massive committee.
Yeah, that's true.
And he tore his ACL last year. He's still a rookie. We don't know if he's actually going to be any good. He could have the situation where he turns into like a Kareem Hunt where we thought he was walking into a committee and he turns out to be the number 1 running back and dominates. I don't know that that's going to happen for Darius Geis. I think he's a decent player, but I don't want to take him until like the 8th or 9th round. So, hey, if he falls to me in the 8th round, I'll take him. But
right.
I'm going to have to take Christian. I'm going to go down the board a little bit here and take Christian Kirk with 7-1.
Ooh, okay.
I take Christian Kirk there. Like I said, you can't follow the ADP. Like I took Robbie Anderson there, but you can't follow the ADP. For me, I had to go Christian Kirk. I thought he's one of the guys that I've been watching all offseason, and he's falling into that 8th, 9th round, window.
Yeah.
And for me, drafting Christian Kirk 7-1 is basically saying he's not going to make it 19 picks. He's just not going to do it. So because that's going to be the case, I'm going to take him here. There's no one else on the board, so let's go with that. The next guy is Ebron, Henderson, Geis, Murray, Matt Ryan, Will Fuller, Drew Brees, Allen Robinson, Geronimo Allison really high, and then Carson Wentz. And now you're a pick boss.
Yeah, this is kind of a crapshoot. I can't lie. So
he's like, I can't.
At this point in the draft, someone who I think is kind of interesting, 7th round, you're still kind of you are still drafting the core of your team. But I wouldn't mind taking a kind of a flyer here.
Yep.
Which is why I'm going to go Miles Sanders. I know What's that?
I faded on Miles Sanders lately.
I have too. I'm not even the biggest fan of him, but remember,
Did you see the report?
No.
Jordan Howard has been dominating first team reps, and then they went out and they got what the heck is his name? The pass catching receiver they've had for years.
Darren Sproles?
Darren Sproles.
Did they?
Yep.
Interesting.
Miles Sanders is basically like the third or fourth back now.
Wow, is that why he's falling? Because he was like 5th round.
Yeah.
Either way,
he's like, I'll take the risk.
Okay, but what I would say then, I didn't know that information before, or else I probably would have taken Jordan Howard.
Your draft's prepared, people.
Yes, this is why you must be. But now that I know that information, both those guys were going back, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I was actually going to ask you, but I knew you weren't going to answer for me. I was going to be like, who do you think's the better Eagles running back option? I just went with Miles Sanders because I know the upside's probably higher than Jordan Howard's.
Right.
But I mean, I think you could go with either guy. And if Miles Sanders blows, he's on my bench. So it's not.
Sanders blows, he's on my bench.
And you know what? I'm picking again. Why not?
Jordan, there you go.
So if one flakes, I got the other.
I'm telling you right now, if this happens,
no, it's not.
Don't do it to him.
Oh no, I know what you're doing.
You know what? I might be dangerous. I feel like Baker. I'm feeling dangerous. I woke up feeling dangerous this morning. Should I do it?
Do it. Go ahead. I just took 2 Eagles running backs back to back.
Kareem Hunt came off the board. Russell Wilson, Ronald Jones, Sammy Watkins, Sterling Shepard, Marvin. Ignore the Sterling Shepard one. Marvin Jones, Jared Cook, Larry Fitzgerald, Royce Freeman, and then Austin Eckler.
Did you want Freeman to follow you? Is that what you're?
No, I was getting excited because there was one man I was watching.
Yeah, and I know who that guy is.
Now I don't usually draft quarterbacks this high, but I think I'm going to do it. Kyler Murray. I have to take my mans. I think Kyler Murray is going to have a very good season this year. He's one of those guys. He reminds me of a little bit of Patrick Mahomes in the context that he can actually throw the football and run it at the same time.
Yeah.
So he's what you want from Cam Newton in terms of passing. With the same ground rushing as Cam Newton. I think he's going to be a better quarterback than Cam Newton. I like Kyler Murray.
You love.
I love Kyler Murray. But I think the biggest thing that you have to think about, too, with Kyler Murray is that quarterbacks coming out of, college generally don't succeed. That's usually what happens. Right. And a lot of people are like, oh, my God, don't draft for quarterbacks, which I always have done in the past. Rushing quarterbacks in their first year generally succeed.
That is a good point.
Do you remember who's the
RG3, right?
RG3 was a success in his first. I believe he was top 10. The Titans drafted a quarterback a while ago. He was Vince Young. He was a top 10 quarterback in his first year in fantasy.
That's throwing it back.
That's taking it real back. And then who was it last year?
Lamar Jackson.
Or maybe 2 years ago. Not Lamar Jackson. But there was a guy a couple years ago that was a top 10 quarterback coming out of college. I think Kyler Murray can do that. I think he's one of the most talented passers that has come out of college in the last couple years. So for me, Kyler Murray is a definite option there. And then because I'm at the turn, I'll do your strategy. I'll take Cam Newton too.
Oh wow, okay. That's not what I was expecting.
8 and 9. I'm going against my strategies.
Yeah, you take not one but 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, dude.
For round 10. Wow.
I've talked about Cam Newton on the podcast before. He's one of my top 5 quarterbacks. So I'm going to take Cam Newton here. Cam Newton will be my week 1 starter until Kyler Murray shows me that he's Patrick Mahomes. Corey Davis went off the board at 902. 903, Chicago Bears. 904, LaShawn McCoy, Jared Goff, David Njoku, Vance McDonald, Cortland Sutton, Phillip Rivers, Adrian Peterson, N'Keal Harry, and Rick.
All right, so that's interesting. You took 2 quarterbacks. I was not expecting that. I'm going to take
Yeah.
I'm going to take actually it stinks cuz this part of the draft really blows.
He's like,
if I'm being honest.
Blows. It's true though.
But I'm gonna go with what is it, Mark? You're gonna have to help me because
Marquez
I'm scared
Valdes-Scantling.
Yeah, I'm scared to mess up that name. I could say it like 10 times and I'll still mess up the name.
Scantling.
The reason I'm taking him is because I think the Packers offense, they lost Randall Cobb. They weren't really. I mean, they did replace Jordy Nelson, but not entirely.
I want to say that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is the guy to have as the number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, I think he's a big time sleeper. I think
people
he
are
could
drafting
break out.
Geronimo Allison way too early.
Yeah, where did he go in our draft?
He went a couple rounds ago. 7th round.
Yeah, to me, I think both those guys are neck and neck in value.
Yeah.
And one's going in the 7th round and one's the last pick in the 9th round, essentially the 10th round. Now, this pick is where it gets really hard because I have no idea. Should I go Rams defense? Ooh.
GG.
I'm just going to go your strat. Or what was I thought your strat originally. Best player available. I'll go Jalen Samuels.
Okay. Well, you don't like me drafting Cam Newton and Kyler Murray?
No, I didn't say anything bad about it. I just Oh wow, you just who are you gonna draft? Jameis Winston?
I liked Westbrook, but he knew he wasn't gonna fall to me, and I liked Deshaun Jackson, but frick.
For me with Jalen Samuels, it's just upside at that point.
Right. Bless you.
Thank you. And I could use another running back, so that's why I went.
After that, we had Westbrook Harris, Curtis Samuel. Oh, you stinking... Curtis Samuel very high.
I know, I saw him there. I was
Los Angeles Rams, Jameis Winston, Deshaun Jackson, Golden Tate, DK Metcalf, ignore the Golden Tate, Deonta Foreman, and then Carlos Hyde. I'm going to take Kiki Kuti.
Okay, not bad.
And then I'm going to take James Washington.
Oh.
So
I thought you were going to go Peyton Barber.
No, I hate Peyton Barber. He blows. He's not going to fall.
Idaho Smith. Austin Hooper. No, that's... Gosh diddly darn.
Gosh diddly darn, really? So right now I have 6 receivers.
Wow, that's...
And I have 3 running backs. So I got to get some running backs. And probably a tight end. I have one more round to get a tight end and a running back.
I just want to... I just out of your curiosity, who would you pick right now if you were me? It's hot garbage.
I'm looking.
You're scrolling.
Alexander Madison, probably.
I was thinking that too.
Because if Dalvin Cook does get hurt, Alexander Madison
that's probably where I'm going.
Flies right into that role.
And then for my second pick, I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go Trey Burton.
Okay.
I think he's a solid, with Austin Hooper off the board, I think he's a very solid tight end option.
So the other, from my pick to his pick, which is Alexander Madison, it was Brady, Barber, Sanders, Roethlisberger, McKinnon, Chargers, Ido Smith, T.J. Hawkinson, Austin
Hawkinson
Hooper,
went in the 11th round.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Yep. Don't draft the Hawk, people. Don't draft the Hawk. After Rick took Alexander Madison and Trey Burton, it was Miller, Moncrief, Ravens D, Devin Funchess, Delaney Walker, Vikings D, Justice Hill, Tyrell Williams, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then Cleveland Browns D. So I have some options here. This is why you could probably, back in that 8th round, I probably could have taken a running back there and then drafted Cam Newton in the 9 and then came back here and drafted Lamar Jackson, or I personally like Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins. You could get one of those guys.
Josh Allen.
Or Josh Allen, who's still on the board. So I would go definitely with one of those guys. And you could justify that. But in that round, I mean, what were you going to get in terms of,
You took the best available player.
Like Ronald Jones, Royce Freeman. I
Peyton
didn't
Barber.
have those guys on the board. LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson were running backs on the board. Corey Davis, Cortland Sutton, N'Keal Harry, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean, there was just not a lot available in terms of players, so why not get Kyler Murray? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Devin Singletary.
Ooh.
Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, why are you going to draft Devin Singletary? He's not very good. Okay, well, listen. He's probably not going to be very good. He's taking first.
Yeah, at this point, we're drafting in the 12th round. So
what I have been hearing surrounding the Buffalo Bills is that LaShawn McCoy is going to be traded or cut before the season starts.
Wow.
If that happens, Devin Singletary jumps into that spot as the number 1 running back. TJ Yeldon is also reportedly on the bubble. So both the running backs that this team has that we thought were going to steal carries from Devin Singletary are now possibly leaving. Does that tell you something about Singletary? That maybe they like him?
Or just says something about LaShawn McCoy.
Well, no, I mean...
No, I got you.
The two guys, they have 4 running backs right now. Devin
Absolutely.
Singletary, TJ Yeldon, and LaShawn McCoy, and then some other guy I don't know the name of. But I'm thinking that if they're willing to get rid of Yeldon and they're willing to get rid of LaShawn McCoy, they are buying in on Devin Singletary. And if that's the case, Devin Singletary is young, and LaShawn McCoy has had success in the Bills' offense in the past. The Bills are kind of building something relatively decent. Their offensive line doesn't blow too bad, so I think Singletary is a good pick here late in the draft to kind of take a look at. So my last pick that I'm going to take here in the third, we're not doing 14th and 15th round, by the way.
Right.
I mean, we'll do it just for fun real fast, but we're going to spend 20 minutes talking about, different guys. So some options I have here at tight end: Greg Olsen, Kyle Rudolph, Jimmy Graham, Jack Doyle, Mark Andrews. I'm going to go with my man's Jackie Doyle.
Oh, wow. Didn't see that one coming.
I was going to go Kyle Rudolph. I really was. But I'm going to go Jack Doyle. I think Doyle's going to have a really good year this year. Number 1 tight end. Talked about him all offseason. Paris Campbell went next. Greg Zuerlein, Dak Prescott, Kalen Ballage, Lamar Jackson, Justin Tucker, Mitch Trubisky, Naheem Hines, Kirk Cousins, and Kyle Rudolph.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't go after Kalen Ballage there.
Yeah, I'm surprised in myself too. I saw him go off the board and I was like, wow.
All right, I'm going to go with my QB strat, even though I got Deshaun Watson. Might as well get Josh Allen as well. I think taking him is a fantastic value because he's going in the 15th, 14th, and 13th round.
Yep.
To me, to both of us, to a lot of the fantasy
I broke my own rules
community,
on this
actually.
whole mock draft.
What was it?
I broke my own rules on this mock
Yeah,
draft.
but what did you say? When you got the turn pick, you got to be flexible.
Yeah.
So you did. I think you did overall
flexibility. I got my man's Kyler Murray. Can't wait to start.
You know what's funny?
One.
I think every mock draft we've done, I've taken Houston Texans defense.
You're an idiot.
Dude, I love JJ Swat, bro.
JJ Swat. Should I take a kicker or a defense first?
Dude, tough to say. This is what makes or break your fans.
Cowboys.
If we're being real. Wow, that's a bad pick.
Hold on. No, I'm not going to screw around that bad. I'll take Jake Elliott. I really don't care who the hell I have for kicker and defense.
Dude, what? You're dissing on kickers now?
I do want to note an interesting pick here in round 1506, Darwin Thompson. He's actually being drafted at this point.
He is.
What's interesting about Darwin Thompson is that, what's his name? I talked about this guy before, by the way. I just want to note that.
You're confusing me because I'm looking at...
You laughed at me for talking about Darwin Thompson on the Kansas City Chiefs.
because...
guess who's been taking first team reps?
No way.
Darwin Thompson. Only because Damian Williams he currently has missed like 3 straight practices with a hamstring injury. So as soon as Damian Williams gets back, he'll probably be in there. But it does show you something that they do like this Darwin Thompson guy, and that as of right now, I would say he's probably the number 2 running back on the depth chart. I don't know that they like Carlos Hyde all that much.
No, I think
he's probably going to be a goal line guy, but we'll see what happens.
For the very last pick, how about them Cowboys? For kickers, I usually just...
So you took the kicker to my defense.
That's kind of gay when you say it like that.
What?
All right. I think I'm pretty happy with the team. I could have been better, though. I think for a 12-team league, we did pretty good.
You distracted me with that comment. You have Julio, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, Stefan Diggs, Tyler Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jalen Samuels, Alexander Madison, Trey Burton, Josh Allen, Houston Texans D, and Brett Maher. And then I got Barkley, Chubb, Fournette.
That's a fantastic trio.
Woods, Calvin Ridley, Anderson, Kirk, Murray, Newton, Kiki Kuti, James Washington, Devin Singletary, Jack Doyle, Dallas Cowboys, and Jake Elliott.
Pretty solid. And now, again, after the draft, you can easily adjust your team by making trades, which we very highly recommend.
Yep, yeah. That's we're gonna at some point down the road. I think it's like our second to last show before the season actually starts. 5 steps to building a super team. Be sure to listen for
trades
that.
will be on that list.
I just want to note before we conclude the show, if you haven't already done this, head over to our brand new website, thefantasychampions.com. You can find articles, rankings, our podcasts, whatever you really want, except for anything not fantasy football related.
So everything you want.
Yeah, everything you want.
You don't want money or fame or...
You want fantasy
win your
football
fantasy
advice.
football
Let's go. Head over to thefantasychampions.com and check it out. It is dope, if I don't say so myself.
No, you really should check it out, though. It's a really good site, and we've been working hard on it. So.
Yeah, definitely. That'll do it for the mock draft episode. Be sure to listen on Thursday as we bring you our breakouts and busts for the 2019 season. That's going to be broken down into 2 episodes. So 2 fun-filled episodes next week about breakouts and busts.
We're getting closer, man.
We're getting closer to the season. I'm getting slightly nervous.
Are you?
I put a lot into this offseason, and I will win this fantasy league. I will win it.
I think you've said that last.
We act like this is a high-stakes league where we buy in $1,000 and like...
Oh, it's not?
It's like, it's not. Where have I been
so I
sending
bought that
$20,000
$20,000 car for nothing then. Dang it, I thought I had that money.
You got any closing thoughts for us before we conclude the show?
I think we need to do a show before September about best draft snacks.
Oh, boy. See you on Tuesday, Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.